2024 is going to be a huge year in the reptile industry, and there's going to be a lot of reptiles you never thought were going to blow up, but definitely will. These are the top 5 most newly popular reptiles in 2024. My name's Adam, this is Tilly, you're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles, stick around. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, thank you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Today, the video came out on Christmas. If you're watching this in July, Happy Christmas in July. Either way, if you're not new to the channel, then you'll notice, what the heck is this? This is not Diamond. This is Tilly the Frilly. I have a frill dragon now. You want a whole video on new pets that you don't know that I own? We can do that if you want. Let me know in the comment section below. But that's not today's video. Today's video is talking about next year, or next week, technically. New Year's Day is in a week, and I think in 2024, we're gonna see the craziest blow up of some of the most unexpected reptiles. I do this video every year, now it's time. Let's start off with number 5, carpet chameleons. Now, carpet chameleons, I've talked about them before. You guys have seen me find them in the wild in Madagascar, one of my favorite species of all time of all reptiles, and definitely my favorite species of chameleon to own. And I know you might be thinking, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, why is this guy talking about chameleons? He hates chameleons. No, I just think chameleons are bad pets for most people. But I think chameleons can be great pets for a lot of people, especially when we're talking about a chameleon that's gonna be, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches, something like that. Highly variable in color, just absolutely fantastic and unique looking animals, and really easy to care for if we're talking about captive bred. So everything on this list is going to be captive bred. Captive bred is always better, and I think that's the reason they're going to blow up. There's guys like Frank Payne who have brought them in and who are now captive breeding them, and I think there's more people too, but that's just the guy that I know and I watch his channel. And of course in Canada, we've got guys like Chameleons Canada bringing them in from Madagascar, and people like myself are buying females, oftentimes gravid females, and then getting pairs as well, and then captive breeding them. Because I would like these animals to be more available captive bred. Less parasites, less issues, less prone to stress, the whole thing. But an insectivore that stays small, that is an amazing chameleon that has a decent lifespan in captivity if they're captive bred and born, I think that these are going to be amazing pets, and you're going to see an influx in them next year. These are predictions. I'm not saying this list is squeaky clean, but you know what is? My face, thanks to Geology, today's sponsor. I'm in my mid-30s now, and that means I gotta start taking care of my skin. And Geology reached out to me. They gave me a quiz because they want to tailor the options for you. This is a custom skin routine. Things that I have oily skin, so I need something for oily skin. I'm getting dark circles under my eyes, so they sent me something for that, and they can do this for you too. The reason I never stuck to a skincare routine before Geology is it's always complicated. You have to do this at midnight plus 1/4 past, and then on the 3rd full moon of this, like, you know what I mean? It just seems so complicated. With these, it literally says step 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. It could not be easier to go through, and this is why I've been doing this for the past month since Geology sent me the kit. Oh, this is moisturizing morning cream with SPF, by the way, because I burn if I get too close to a stove. Obviously, if your skin is prone to sunburn, use SPF, and it's built right into the face cream. This could not be any easier. What I love too is these products don't make my skin feel more oily. It actually makes me feel clean when I'm done with the routine. What makes Geology different? They are a 26-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company recognized by Men's Health, Hypebeast, Birdie, Esquire. I could go on and on. You get the point. Oh, and those custom routines, they're using very few ingredients, and they're the ones that are proven to work. Also, they didn't send me 7 boxes and a crate. They sent me a box. 1 box with a skincare routine, and they sent me this awesome deodorant as well, which is natural, and a body wash. So now I smell good, my face feels good, I think everybody notices, and I think you will too. And right now, for a limited time, they're hooking you up with an absolutely insane offer. If you use my code WWR70 or scan the QR code on the screen, they will give you an exclusive 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set. And on top of that, you can get 50% off add-on products. All you have to do is add it to your trial. This is the best offer I've ever seen, and you will too. Get it before it's gone. That's WWR70 or scan the QR code. Thanks Geology for sponsoring today's episode. Let's get back to the list. Number 4, let's talk about garter snakes. Now, garter snakes are gaining popularity, but I think they're gonna blow up next year, especially because a lot of the garter snakes we have might be wild caught, and now we're seeing much more of captive breeding. And they're a great captive breeding project for not newer keepers, but I would say less experienced breeders. Never breed anything for the money, never breed anything for the sake of breeding it, always make sure you have a purpose and you're able to get rid of the babies in a reasonable way. And there's people that are, breeding them. I think Dion at Reptiles, he's going to be breeding some red-sideds next year, maybe the year after. Annalise at All Canadian Reptile Girl has already bred some. And I think you're going to see some bigger influencers really talk about them. And you're going to see more of them on tables at reptile expos. And if you're wondering, where are my predictions coming from? I'm not pulling them out of the sky. I'm talking about, I go to 15 reptile expos a year. I traveled, the world, but the US and Canada a lot. And I talk to people, what they're looking for, what they can't find, what's becoming more available. And talking to breeders helps with that too. And with garter snakes, there's more species, like Chapalas, red-sideds up here in Canada is kind of like a really big thing now. Your checkers, your easterns, there's a whole bunch of different ones that are becoming really popular and more easily found. And back to my original point, they don't lay eggs. So they have live litters, and I think that's what makes them really amazing, because in most cases, it's a lot easier to have an animal that doesn't have eggs that you have to incubate. They basically incubate them themselves inside of them. And anyway, garter snakes, next year, you'll see. Number 3, when's it coming? Right now, Stenodactylus. So sand geckos, sand-fingered geckos, elegant sand-fingered geckos. I like to call them dune geckos. Either way, Stenodactylus petri or petri and Stenodactylus stenodactylus are the 2 species that are going to be really popular next year. And the reason is a lot of them are coming in wild caught, but we want to promote captive bred. Captive bred is always better, almost always better. And we're having people like Dion Reptiliadis, Daffy's Reptiles, myself, who are bringing them in, and then we're breeding them, and then in captivity, you're gonna have captive bred babies, which eventually, the whole point, if you're newer to the reptile hobby, you wanna take as little out of the environment as possible. So if you're bringing in animals, and then people who have reach, start to promote them and then can start to sell them in numbers that are captive bred, it defeats, and it's going to be, I guess, as reasonably priced or as inexpensive, I should say, to buy captive bred animals or very close to, and you don't have any of the problems, then there's no point of bringing them out of the wild in the first place. So as much as I hate to put people out of work, but the people who are collecting animals in the wild, if I'm putting anybody to work, it's going to be them, because that means that we're keeping more animals in their native range. So the point is, they're really small geckos, super duper tiny, and you can keep males together, which is weird, because most geckos, if you put 2 males together, you're going to be getting one off of the side of the enclosure with a hose the next day, because they're just going to really mess each other up. You're not going to have that issue here. These animals are not going to do that. They can live in communities. They can live on sand. They're insectivores. They're easy to house. They like it warm. They like it not humid at all, really kind of dry. But it's really easy to keep these animals, and you can keep many of them together. And they're inexpensive right now, even captive bred. So if you don't want a leopard gecko or African fat tail or cave gecko or whatever, which are all amazing geckos, I think Stenodactylus might be for you. I know they're for me. I love them, and you're going to see more of them next year. Number 2, gopher snakes. Now, bull snakes got a big rise in popularity a few years ago, thanks to places like, Snake Discovery, right? Emily and Ed did a lot of videos with bull snakes, which are part of the Pituophis family. It's spelled like this, but it's pronounced Pituophis for some reason. Either way, these guys are amazing animals, okay? Bull snakes are great. Bull snakes, they rear up kind of like a cobra does, and they hiss at you, and they have attitudes, but they can be great animals, and they're big colubrids. I think they're the second biggest colubrid in North America after eastern indigos. But either way, you can find them all the way up into Canada. You can find them in the southern US. They're everywhere. But I think gopher snakes, which are in the same family, and bull snakes are gopher snakes, but not all gopher snakes are bull snakes. Either way, I think things like Sonoran gopher snakes, which are my favorite, and have morphs, are going to be really popular. Slightly different size than bull snakes, slightly different look, slightly different temperament. They eat great. They're still big. They're still impressive. They're still flashy. They have really good personalities, even though they could be feisty. In my experience talking to people who have gopher snakes, Sonorans especially, they're easier to tame out than a lot of bull snakes. And you can get them in albinos and different morphs. So if you want something that's not a normal looking snake, then you have them. My point is, they're amazing. I absolutely love them. And before we get to number 1, I'm going to give you a bonus, because I don't know how they didn't make the list, but they're going to be popular next year. The bonus is mountain horn dragons. This is not number 1. This is bonus. That's why Matt put up a big bonus thing. Thanks, Matt. Mountain horn dragons, they're gaining popularity. We're breeding them more in captivity. There's more species coming available, because mountain horn dragons, there's a bunch of different species. I love them. They're in my office. I only have 1 animal in my office, and it's mountain horn dragons. Well, I have 4 animals because they're all mountain horn dragons. They're fun to watch. I mean, they're always out, they're bold, you can handle them, they look kind of funny with the horns on their head. I just love them, they're amazing. That's your bonus. But let's get on to number one, something I think is gonna jump in popularity and kind of clashes with what I said in a few videos ago, Chihuahua geckos. Now, I said Chihuahua geckos are gonna drop in price, which I think is true. I think there's a barrier to entry with Chihuahua geckos because Chewies, affectionately they're called, which are from the same island, by the way, as gargoyle geckos, crested geckos, and leachianus geckos. And what we see is crested geckos are cheap, gargoyles are a little bit more expensive. There's a pretty big jump for even normal Chewies, and then leachianus are at the top. So I think there's a price barrier with Chewies. And I think when you start talking about Pine Island Chewies, the mainlands are cheaper than the Pine Isles because they don't look as nice, but they're pretty amazing animals. Okay, I just posted one on Instagram. Please do follow me there. I should run a contest. I need to get my Instagram following up. I would appreciate it. I post stuff. It's fun. Either way, I breed normals and they sell for Canadian $300 to $500 generally Canadian. So I don't know, that's 17 cents US. In the US, I know Pine Islands are, there's more morphs coming out, or colorations, I guess, or localities where they're starting to jump up in price. And even here, the Pine Islands are getting more expensive, but the normals are going down in price. So I think that there's gonna be less barrier to entry. They're gonna be closer to a crested gecko or gargoyle price. And for that reason, I think more people are gonna get them because Chewies are amazing. I love Chihuahua geckos. I have a bunch of babies. I'm looking at them right now, and I can't wait for more people to experience them like I have because they're freaking amazing. So I want to say special thanks if you hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for what you do. You guys are amazing. Thanks to Geology for sponsoring today's episode. And finally, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or if you're watching this later on, I hope you're having a great week. Thanks so much for the Patreon subscribers. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch, one-on-ones with me. You guys know why this room looks different every freaking week, it seems like. All of that and more for as little as $1 a month. That's it, because I do videos on Mondays and Thursdays. That means I'll see you in the next one.